I had killed him. Who I was had died. My heart stopped and it bring me back. I'm sitting here and saying this to you because I'm in depression and I had to take medication to address it.
When CS Santosh first competed in the Dakar Rally in 2015 and finished it in a respectable position, he was instantly propelled to the ranks of Indian motorsport heroes. After all, competing in and finishing the world's most grueling and punishing off-road rally raids as a privateer without factory backing was a Herculean task. 7 years down the line, now a factory rider with 7 Dakar starts and 3 Dakar finishes behind him, he's seen countless injuries and setbacks. But after Dakar 2021, Santosh faces his biggest challenge yet. It's a fight to first find himself and then someday go back to competing in the dunes.
Hi, my name is CS Santosh and I ride for Team Hero MotoSports Rally. Of my memory, I think I've done a few Dakars. It started in 2015 was my first Dakar, and ever since then I've been going to Dakar. So it's now 2021. So 7, I would say. Yeah. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I've been racing the Dakar ever since 2015. So and this is 2021, that would make it 7 Dakars so far. Very interesting year I've had so far. And of course I always begin the year with the most promised, which is the Dakar. Unfortunately for me, it didn't work out the way I'd imagined a Dakar to go. And of course there are many things that can happen in the Dakar, but I didn't expect it to end up the way it did this year. I don't remember the Dakar or the year before. So unfortunately I hit my head, so I crashed out of the Dakar, and that's pretty much what I remember from being told that I crashed out.
It was like a nightmare, I would think this is like a dream. It's not true. I'll wake up and this has not happened. If we could turn the clock back, you're leading a happy life until one point of time, and suddenly your whole life changes. Kala follows him constantly when he's on the race, and she follows the progress of the vehicle from one point to the next point, and she realized at one point of time that his vehicle was not moving, his number was not moving forward, and then she realized something must be wrong. And then when she checked, his number was also removed from the from the list of participants, and then she realized there's definitely something very wrong.
So I was thinking that I had a very small crash because I didn't break any bones. And I was thinking for sure I hit my head on the road book because my head is damaged. And so when I met the guy that actually had crashed before me at the same spot where I crashed, he said, "You crashed at 130 or 140. Also the vest that I was wearing was the Alpine Star, had records data. And so even the Alpine Star guys told me that they have data from my crash, and I had 3 big crashes in one crash. So I was going very, very fast at that point in time, and yes. And the fact is that what I crashed on was a rock which was the same color as the sand. So you couldn't have seen it.
They added the phone into the press conference so that I could hear what the chief medical officer was telling the other people, making an announcement. She said that Santosh has met with an accident, but he's had a head injury. It's only, he's been put into an induced coma. And this was a diffuse axonal injury. It was a new term for us.
My heart stopped. So I can only say it in those lines. They said my heart stopped and then bring me back to get my heart to beat again. So it was that. So I don't know, since I don't have no memory of it, I'm very uncomfortable saying this. I was in a coma for I think 1 month is what they told me. And then they brought me out of it, and then I remember that, now I can tell you, I remember the fact that I thought everything was a dream because I don't remember the year before. Not just the Dakar, I don't remember the year before and a little bit more than the year before.
Me and Kala were waiting in the hospital, and Kala went up to Santosh and he held her hand and pressed her hand. So, that was a big comfort, and he even put up his thumbs up. He showed his hand like this. So that was a big relief to see, he's functional. He didn't know who he was. He was in very bad shape. You're looking at him today, you can't make out. He was in very bad shape. He couldn't get up, he couldn't sit up, he couldn't walk. Everything was like baby steps again.
He never had any balance in his body. 2 people has to walk next to him.
To stand up and balance, anybody can do it. You don't have to think about it. And I was in a position without any injuries, without any broken bones, not able to doing this. So it was so strange that I couldn't even balance effortlessly. I had to pay attention to balance. I had to pay attention to walk straight. I had to pay attention to hold the ball, sit. Everything needed my attention. Basically, I was not a human being. I was not a man anymore, because we rely on our senses so much, and the fact that I couldn't see anybody straight, I had double vision, and the fact that one arm basically didn't work, a dislocated shoulder, and mostly brain damage. And the fact that my brain was so tired all the time was really difficult to understand why it was so tired all the time that I wanted to sleep. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I asked myself, what the hell is wrong with you? Are you cheating yourself is what I ask myself. Because I look at myself in the mirror and say, are you joking that you can't do all these things? You're joking, come on. That you can't lift this weight, you can't run. What is wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with you. Yeah, so I have to make peace with the fact that there's something wrong with me and I don't see it in the mirror. So I'm scared of that. It was very difficult to come to terms with the Santosh that I was to the Santosh that I had become after the crash, because in a way I had killed him, because all the characteristics of who I was had died. Because I've broken many bones, and breaking bones is just a lot of pain, which I could deal with, and I was always strong about it. But the fact that I hit my head in a way that changed who I was as a person is something that even today I'm trying to deal with it.
Encouraged by friends and family, Santosh underwent months of rehabilitation at Isokinetic Fitness in Bologna to regain basic motor skills, and then resumed training at his Big Rock Dirt Park in Bangalore. He's making steps in the right direction, but his biggest victory was when, for the first time since he crashed, he got back on the motorcycle.
I had to basically earn people's trust because it was the mind that was injured. So I had to go to Spain, ride a bicycle first. In traffic, not just ride a bicycle, in traffic, to show people that I knew what traffic was and to knew how to navigate traffic. And then from that to riding a road book on the X-Pulse. Of course, not a rally bike. I rode the X-Pulse because my injuries were such that I couldn't control a full-fledged motorcycle. The motorcycle felt like I rode it yesterday, because the feeling that you have from the tires rolling on the ground to the vibrations that are coming through the engine, feeling it through the frame, felt like I rode it yesterday. But everything else felt like I'd not done for years. Like when I met people, I couldn't recognize them. I didn't even recognize my own house. Didn't recognize my own house, didn't recognize my own bed, didn't recognize my own streets. So I was in that state, not remembering anything. So from that to remembering a motorcycle was was something that I loved because it reminded me. So I loved that aspect.
But aside from the physical component of his injuries, dealing with the mental aspect has been the metaphoric mountain that Santosh has had to climb. It's been a difficult journey.
Basically, I was a guy mentally very strong, and the fact that an injury like this takes that away from you. I think athletes are painted as superhuman beings because they do amazing aspects of everyday life. Of course they do, but they're also human beings at the end of the day. When you basically have injuries, like I have in the past, when you break stuff or you don't do well in the races or you face some difficulties, there was always inspiration for all of these aspects, and they was always talked about. And there were movies made and books written, and the people would have an interest in this. But the injury that I was going through, there was no literature around it. I felt like the only man in the world that was going through what I was going through. It felt very lonely because it was very difficult to get information on the kind of injury that I was facing and what I had to do, because the mind is very difficult for an athlete to speak about. Ari Vatanen, who's an incredible driver and of course world champion in WRC, and I saw the fact that he had gone through an injury that affected him mentally, where he was in depression. And I found it very, very hard to believe that an athlete can go into depression. First, as a human being, to understand that a person can go through depression was not possible by me. And to understand that an athlete goes through it was incredibly hard, that you have these moments, even as an athlete, that relies on his mind to get him through what he is going through. So yes, so I'm sitting here and saying this to you because I'm in depression. So I'm going past depression, and I had to take medication to address it. I'm saying it to you because I know Ari Vatanen was able to get past what he went through, and I know if he was able to get past to what he went through, I'm sure I will do as well. And also another aspect that I'm going to share with you is also that we need to talk about it, is because nothing is said about this. I think the world needs to know, because this injury also, when I say a man, is also, there was no drive for women, there was no sexual drive at all. So I had a girlfriend and I didn't see women like normally you would see them as. And that was taken away. I didn't have testosterone or any of those things anymore in my life.
Even with all the setbacks, Santosh is trying to focus on the silver linings.
I'm smiling because, it took me 8 months to get on antidepressant pills, because apparently all the doctors that I met were asking me for telltale signs about how you're depressed. And the fact is that I didn't have those characteristics, because they all expected me to be very violent, abusive, all those kind of things, which I didn't do at all. And my parents also were surprised that I was so well behaved. And so basically I felt an emptiness inside me, because I felt that man had died, that somebody had died, and that man was me. I was living as a person, but I had died as an individual. And so basically the biggest joy was the fact that I discovered him after I took antidepressant pills. It was amazing to find C.I. Santosh again, and I'm happy to have the ability to be back on a motorcycle, because that is being a man that I am. To find myself is the biggest possibility and joy that I have in my life, is to find myself. And that's why I say the motorcycle is me, because that is who I am. And to discover that is to be back on the motorcycle again and to see my team. That is the best joy that I can take away from this.
Despite his best efforts though, Santosh has to make peace with the fact that his Dakar return will have to be deferred.
Through Red Bull, I went to Switzerland because they wanted me to go see somebody, basically there's a hospital for the mind. I wanted them to say to me, nothing's wrong with you. And I failed all of my tests. So unfortunately I failed all those tests. And after that I I had to call Wafi and tell him that unfortunately I'm in this position, and even though it's the motivation of my life to be back on the motorcycle, to race the Dakar, I have to let you down. And I let him down and the team down is what I feel.
Nonetheless, Santosh has been re-signed by Hero MotoSports, Red Bull and Sidwin, and his motivation remains his desire to do them proud and to try and realize his own potential.
I had this dream back in the day, which was a recurring dream, and it was about me being in a race, and I was watching myself race, like a 100-meter race, but I'm looking down at myself and I'm saying there's so much potential in me, but I'm not able to realize that potential in me. Like, I have so much to give, but I'm looking at myself not giving that potential of what I have. I mean, it represents my ambition in life. It is not to be a great person. I just want to be a person that I know I can be, which is to my own potential. So yes, that is my source of greatness that I want to be. So yes, I just want to be back to myself. Like I said, I want to be CS Santosh again, because I want to experience joy from all of these aspects that made me who I am. I'd love to experience those aspects again. What I'm doing is like chasing rainbows, because you think that you will arrive at a certain place that's going to mean something, that you get something out of it, and I'm still chasing that. So I still don't know. That means I'm trying to find myself at the end of the day. Chasing rainbows is in a way trying to find myself, like I said in the race, that potential. So yes, I am still chasing that rainbow, and I hope to find that pot of gold at the end of it. Yes.
Santosh is convinced that the only way to do this is on two wheels.
Another aspect that I don't want to talk about, but I will talk about it because Joaquim spoke to me about it. And Joaquim, basically, when he was going through a difficult phase in his life, he had to ask himself this question: is racing everything in life? And he said, it's not. And unfortunately, I cannot say that to you. I don't see my life without racing.
It's a sentiment that his family understands well.
I would love to see him riding again in a race, at least one race, and compete in a race, yes.
For sure, I'm a lucky man, even to be alive. With the fact that I should have actually not been here in this physical form is a testament to the fact that a lot of things could have gone wrong, and it's only this much that has happened to me. So yes, I'm a lucky man, and I'm here for a reason. We will see what that reason is.